Okay, my name is Randy Keeler, and I'll just briefly say something about how Wally and Juanita got here. I was in prison, in a federal prison for 2 years for draft non-cooperation and resistance, and used to get the newsletter of the peacemakers that Wally and Juanita were very much a part of at that time, and it was sent to all prisoners of conscience, so-called, at that time. And after I got out, a good friend of mine involved with the War Resisters League as I was said, "Oh, would you like to go meet Wally and Juanita Nelson? They live here in New Mexico, you know." And I was in prison part of the time in New Mexico. And I said, sure, and we went to see them, and it was so great to meet the people who I've been reading about and whose life I've been reading about and whose philosophy. And
Randy, what year is this now?
this was 1970. They came here in 74. I got out in 72. So, and then, to make a long story short, they said that they had actually moved to New Mexico because land was cheap. They had wanted to move to New England, but land was not cheap. And I was here with my wife Betsy Corner. There was an alternative school here, what we called a free school in those days, and we needed a farmer. We just lost our farmers. So I wrote to them and I said, how would you like to come and be the farmers on the school? And they wrote back and said, thanks but no thanks. However, we don't really want to be on the staff of the school, but we'd be, if there's any land there, we'd be more than happy to be really good neighbors to the school, live next door. And this was the first insight into Wally and Juanita's philosophy, personality. And so we put that before the Mount Toby board. It was actually not Mount Toby, but an independent board of Quaker folks who owned the land. And they agreed. Long story short, Wally and Juanita came here in 1974, but I just tell one little anecdote, which was they were on their way, and they had this old rattle-trap pickup truck hauling this trailer, rattle-trap trailer with their possessions piled high. And we got a call from some folks, I think Quakers in Buffalo, saying, we got your name from Wally and Juanita Nelson. Oh, I said, they're in jail. and we said, oh no, what's the matter? And it turns out they had been stopped on the highway because the taillight was out and they were being treated very roughly by the police. You don't treat Wally and Juanita roughly and get away with it. So they refused to cooperate with that kind of treatment. In jail they went. So meanwhile, an old friend of theirs called and said, is it true? And we said, oh yeah, can you believe it? And the old friend who knew them from way back said, well, just get used to it. I'll stop there.
Who was that, Randy? Who was the old friend?
I can't remember who the old friend was.
That's a great beginning. That gets them here.
2 minutes. Almost here. They're still in jail.
They got out of jail and arrived safely.
We got him. We went and picked him up.
You went and picked him
Betsy
up.
and I and somebody.
And we're glad you did. Who'd like to go next?
I will. I'm going to ask Gillis to come up with me. So, can I borrow that?